My dear students of class 10, we shall continue with Act 4, Scene 1 of Merchant of Venice. In my last class, I had discussed how Antonio's flesh would be cut off by Shylock, and for that he had made everything ready. The balance was ready, the knife was ready, and Antonio just tries to console his friend Bassanio by telling him not to feel sad that he is going away from the world, and not to have a guilt in his heart that he is going away because of Bassanio. Because he tells him to at least tell his wife what kind of a friend was Antonio and what kind of a friendship the two of them had. And also he tells Bassanio that he is indeed very lucky to go away from the world very soon, because he doesn't have to face the difficulties that one has to face in the old age. He is very happy that he is going away early, and he feels that Lady Fortune has been good to him. He is indeed very lucky because he can escape old age, poverty, and all the hardships that he has to bear in his old age. So he tells Bassanio not to feel sad and guilty, but to be happy and live his life happily. That is what he tells his friend Bassanio. So now let's continue further with Act 4, Scene 1. So Bassanio says, Antonio, I am married to a wife which is as dear to me as life itself. So now Bassanio tells Antonio, see Antonio, I am married to a wife who is very, very dear to me, whom I love very much. She is very dear to me. But he says, but life itself, my wife, and all the world are not with me esteemed above thy life. But see, my life, and everything else in this world cannot be compared with your love. And your life for me is above all these things. Even my wife, my life, and everything else in this world is above everything. You mean everything to me. I mean, these are all nothing compared to your life and you. You mean a lot to me. You hold a very special place in my life. So my life, wife, and everything else in this world cannot be compared to your life. So that means you are the most important person for me in this entire world. I would lose all, I sacrifice them all here to this devil to deliver. So I would sacrifice everything in this world to save you from the clutches of this devil, to save you from Shylock. I would sacrifice everything in this world. So just then, Portia, who is disguised as a lawyer, is listening to whatever Bassanio had to say. So she intervenes and she says, your wife would give you little thanks for that if she were by to hear you make that offer. So she is the wife of Bassanio, so she is listening to whatever Bassanio is saying. So she says, your wife would be very less thankful to you for whatever you have said. She would not be very happy to hear that. Your wife would be very upset to hear that, because she herself is present there and she is listening to whatever Bassanio has just said. So she says that his wife wouldn't be very pleased to hear that. And what now Bassanio has to say further. Now Gratiano says, I have a wife whom I protest I love. I would she were in heaven, so she could entreat some power to change this currish Jew. Now Gratiano steps in further and he says, I have a wife whom I love very much. But in the present situation, I just wish she were dead and she were in heaven, so that she could send somebody from heaven to save Antonio from the clutches of this devilish Jew. So now Gratiano has also done a blunder here. Because he doesn't know Nerissa is present there. Nerissa, his wife, is there. So even he, without thinking of anything, he just says it. And he says, my wife, I love her very much. But I wish at the present situation, she were dead. And she would send somebody from heaven to save Antonio from the clutches of Shylock at this present juncture. So now it is Nerissa's turn to react to what Gratiano has said. Now she says, "'Tis well you offer it behind the back. This wish would make else an unquiet house." Now she says, it's good you are making this sacrifice in the absence of your wife. Otherwise, you would have quarrels in your house. You would have fight in your house. It's good that you are making this offer in the absence of your wife. Because she is also present there, Nerissa is there. So she replies to Gratiano in this way. So it's good you are not making this sacrifice in front of your wife, otherwise there will be a fight in your house, there will be a quarrel in your house. So the two gents unknown, that Nerissa and Portia, are present there, but they are just making their statements in order to bring some hope in the life of Antonio. Just they were making the wishes so that they could save Antonio's life. They were just making these wishes, little knowing that their wives are present there in the court in the form of the lawyer and the clerk. They didn't know that. So without knowing anything, they just uttered some wishes and some words. And Nerissa and Portia, they are not very happy to listen to that. Now Shylock says, "These be the Christian husbands. I have a daughter, would any of the stock of Barabbas had been a husband rather than Christian." So now what Shylock had to say was, see, aside, he goes aside and he says, so that nobody would be able to hear what he's saying. So he just says, oh, these Christian husbands, look at them, just look at them. And I also have a daughter who is married to a Christian. And I just wish my daughter would be married to a stock of Barabbas. So I just wish she would be married to a murderer rather than these Christian husbands. Just look at them, how they are sacrificing their wives just for the sake of this man. And my daughter is also married to a Christian. So how I wish she was married to a murderer rather than these Christian fellows. I just wish. So he says these words not in front of everybody, but he goes aside and he says these words. So aside, I have told you several times, it's a dramatic term where all the characters would be present on the stage since it's a play. So aside means the characters are there, but the one who has to make a speech will go and stand somewhere else and say something. The audience will be able to hear what that person is saying, but the others present on the stage, they have to pretend as if they have not heard what he has said. So this is the meaning of the term aside. It's a term used in drama. So since it's a play, the term aside is used here. So Shylock, without anybody's knowledge, utters these words and wishes that his daughter was not married to a Christian fellow. So this is what he had to say. So he comes back and he says, "We trifle time, I pray thee," first new sentence. "We are just wasting our time. Come on. Now pass the sentence upon Antonio. We are simply wasting our time here." So Shylock now is in a hurry to cut off a pound of flesh from Antonio's body. So that's why he tells everybody to hurry up and to the Duke also to pass the sentence as soon as possible. Now Portia says, "A pound of that same merchant's flesh is thine." The court awards it, and the law doth give it. Yes, the pound of flesh of this merchant is yours. The court gives it, the law gives it to you. So that is thine, that is yours. You can have it anytime you want. Because it's there in the bond, and you have the right to take a pound of flesh from this merchant's body. So the court gives it, and the law also gives it. So you can have it. So what Shylock had to say to that? Most learned judge, a sentence, come, prepare. Oh, you are a righteous judge. Come on, pass the sentence. Do it, hurry up. Let's not delay. Then Portia says, and you must cut this flesh off his breast. The law allows it, and the court awards it. Portia further says, and you will cut off a pound of flesh from nearby his heart. The court allows it, and the law gives it. Shylock says, most learned judge, a sentence, come, prepare. So to that also he says, oh, such a righteous judge she is, or he is. The court allows it and the law gives it. When Shylock hears these words, he is extremely delighted. So he says, he's a righteous judge, such a learned judge he is, because he is getting to hear what he wants to hear. So he is extremely delighted. Then he says, tarry a little. So Portia, before Shylock cuts off a pound of flesh, she tells him, tarry a little, pause a little, wait a little. There's something else. This bond doth give thee here no jot of blood. The words expressly are a pound of flesh. So wait. Now Shylock is going to have thunderbolts. He is going to get the biggest surprise of his life. So Portia tells him, wait. The words are only a pound of flesh. You are not supposed to drop blood. Blood has not been mentioned here. So since we are focusing on the bond too much, the words are only a pound of flesh, not blood. Only a pound of flesh. Then take thy bond, take thou pound of flesh, but in the cutting if thou dost shed one drop of Christian blood, thy lands and goods are by the law of Venice confiscate unto the state of Venice. So the words are only a pound of flesh. You should not drop even a jot of blood. And if you do so in the process of cutting, if you drop a jot of blood, then all your lands and everything will be confiscated and it will go into the treasury of the state. So that's why you should make sure that you cut off the pound of flesh, but no jot of blood should drop. The words are only pound of flesh. Please remember, stick to that and make sure that you do not drop any blood. And if you do so, then all your lands, everything, whatever you have, your property will be confiscated and will be given to the state. So now, as I told you, there's a thunderbolt and Shylock gets the surprise of his life. He had not expected this to happen, but suddenly it comes as a thunder for him. And now he is fully trapped. He doesn't know how he is trapped there. He's fully trapped. Now see what happens. Now it's Gratiano's turn to say, "Oh, upright judge, mark Jew! Oh, learned judge!" Now it's Gratiano's turn, is it? "Oh, upright judge, righteous judge, mark that Jew." You listen to that Jew. What the lawyer has said just now. Oh my goodness, what a smart judge. Then, is that the law? Thyself shalt see their act, for as thou urgest justice, be assured, thou shalt have justice more than thou desirest. Then Shylock gets shocked and says, is that the law? Then Portia says, you see it for yourself. Since you want justice, you will get justice more than what you have asked for. That is justice. So whatever has been said in the bond, I have read that only. And I'm talking about only that. So you see for yourself. That is there. So now Shylock gets very much surprised. And Gratian against, oh learned judge, mark Jew, a learned judge. They say, oh what a wise judge. Pay attention. Jew, she is a wise judge. So this is what happened when Shylock was about to cut off a pound of flesh from Antonio's body. Before he cuts off, this is what Portia says, that he can cut off a pound of flesh from Shylock's body, that also nearby the heart, but he cannot drop even a jot of blood. And that was what was written in the bond. The bond does not say that he can drop blood. The bond just says that he can cut off a pound of flesh from Antonio's body. And that is the turning point in this trial scene. Now everything gets topsy-turvy. Everything becomes very, very different from now on. Because now Shylock is fully trapped. Because he was going just according to the bond. Whatever was there in the bond. So now since he wants to go according to the bond, Portia has given him what he wanted. Even more than that. So he is fully in the traps of Portia now. Now he cannot say anything. So he has to accept what is there in the bond, because he himself has been saying and talking about the bond all the time. Not once, twice, but all the time. So even when he was asked to bring a doctor, surgeon, he said that that is not there in the bond. So he will not bring a doctor. So this is how Shylock gets trapped in his own trap that he has set for Antonio. He himself falls into the pit which he has dug for Antonio. So now he has no way out. He has to follow what is written in that particular bond. He has to abide by that. So this is how Portia, a very, very wise woman, decides to save Antonio from the clutches of the Shylock, and she has already begun the process of doing it. So in the beginning, she pretended as if she supported Shylock, but now she has brought the real thing. Now this is what happens. This is the turning point in the trial scene. I take this offer then, pay the bond thrice and let the Christian go. So then I take this offer, I take this bond, pay 3 times the amount of the contract and let the Christian go. So now Shylock has no way out. He has no option. So he just says, take thrice the amount of the principal, 3,000 ducats that he had given to Bassanio, and let the Christian go. Let him be free. So now Shylock does not see any way out in which he can save himself, and in the way in which he can take a pound of flesh from Antonio's body. So finally, what he had to say was, pay thrice the amount and let this Christian go from you. Let him be free. I don't want that pound of flesh. I don't want anything from you. Just the thrice the amount that he has taken. Let him be free from you. So poor Shylock, he has to accept what the court says, what the law says. And Portia has been clever enough in doing all these things and planning out all these things. So Portia, a very wise woman, now she sets her foot forward in saving the life of Antonio. This is the first phase of her plan. Now further, she will add on more and more clause to the bond, and she will go on trapping Shylock more and more. And finally, Shylock had to give up on his claim of the pound of flesh which he has asked from Antonio. So this is a part of the explanation of Act 4, Scene 1, and in my next class, I shall continue with the same act and the same scene of Merchant of Venice. Thank you, class 10.